If you and I start in the same place of struggle or at least similar challenges, and I find a way to change our lives for the better, I find a way for us to go forward to the next level or at least a different level, and you find all the reasons not to go with me, did I leave you behind or did you stay put while I kept moving? The schism didn't happen when friend started doing better. The schism actually happened when friend decided to do better. Which friend are you? We're going to do the work today, Passionates, okay? Passion public service announcement. Passionate. Let me tell you something.
So what is this Passion PSA podcast? Who am I? Well, they call me Passion, short for passion, no last necessary. Why is there no last name necessary? Because the first name says it all. I am Passion and all that embodies. What do I do here? I give you the life coaching that you know you need, but don't enroll yourself in. When did I start? Actually, 2017. I'd leave a PSA on my Instagram regarding something I'd observed, and now we've evolved to this. Why do I do it? Why not? If even one person is able to take away one thing that changes their life, someone else's life, or changes the world for the better, then I've done what I was charged to do. So come on in, sit and listen for a while. There's something here for everyone at the Passion PSA podcast.
Greetings and salutations, my beloved passionates, newcomers, visitors, and guests. Welcome to another episode of the Passion PSA podcast where I, Passion, no last necessary, your get you right guru, issue a weekly public service announcement about whatever I've observed or was on my mind. This is a for your consideration zone where the objective is to offer you a perspective you may not have previously considered to A, expand your thinking, and B, aid you in becoming a better version of yourself for yourself and for others. This is a safe space, but not necessarily a delicate one. I'll never rob you of your right to feel what you feel, the same way I will not sugarcoat the truth to make it more palatable. The goal is to get you to higher, more expanded thinking so you can operate as your highest and best self. If you are new here, affirmations are our first order of business so we can intentionally raise the vibration and start on one accord. So let's get on the same frequency. If you're ready, go ahead and take a deep breath. You are always welcome to repeat after me or to use this time to state your own affirmations. I understand that movement is necessary to growth. I understand that I have a choice. I understand I'm accountable for my choices. I respect the choices of others, even if I disagree with them. I respect where I am. I accept that being anywhere but here requires me to take steps. I am willing to do it afraid. I understand the consequence of operating in fear. I'm ready to make a move. Boldly, I go forward. Ashe, ashe, ashe. So Passionates, I was working on another episode this week, but I put it to the side because I didn't quite know where I wanted to go next, and I needed to think. So while I was cleaning, I started thinking about what we've discussed this season, and it dawned on me that there is a perspective that has been missed. Now, you remember a few weeks back, I think that was episode 7, I told you what I was willing to give up. I told you that my fellow mentees in mentorship had given up all kinds of things and had lost everything from marriages to parents to children. Having a conversation about what you're willing to give up, that's challenging because most of us don't willingly give up too much of anything. Most of us give things up when we're backed into a corner. We give them up when we have no choice. We'll hold on to everything that doesn't serve us, and often it's because of the idea of lack. More than a few of us only get rid of things so we can acquire more things, and we don't realize it until we're adding more acquisitions. So in general, there's a lot of conversation around personal elevation, right? And what you'll have to relinquish. We talk about the challenges of what it feels like to let go of something that's always been there, breaking up with our old self, our old habits, our old attire, our old neighborhoods. These things can cause all kinds of distress and anguish because sometimes it feels disloyal to separate from what we feel has made us who we are, right? We're taught from young to never forget where we came from, especially if we hail from humble beginnings. Sometimes that's the elders telling us not to get too big-headed, because if for whatever reason we should happen to fall, that tumble is not pretty and not gentle. But there are times when we're being given that reminder because the people where we came from don't want to be forgotten. They don't want to feel discarded or let go of, like that old pair of shoes or that gently worn furniture. And if you've ever been thrown away or left behind, you know exactly why. And if you have separation anxiety, it's even worse. And for as much as we know or think we know about people, we usually don't know what real diagnoses or undiagnosed neuroses or psychoses they suffer from. So we really don't know how traumatic it can be for them. But we've talked about what you need to do to work through it and get past it. Today, I want to talk to the others. Friend, are you ready to get left behind? Are you ready to be released? Now, the short and quick answer to that is no, and we know that. If we know nothing else, we know the transition from this life to the next is the only constant in this life. And no matter how much of a reality that is, it never seems to fail that it comes as a shock when it happens. And you know what's equally as wild, or dare I say, and I know I'm a ruffled feather saying this, you know what's even more wild? Being left behind by someone who isn't really gone. They're just gone from you. Are you ready for that? And don't be all tough, Tony, shrugging your shoulders all hard like you practicing the bankhead bounce, okay? If your main man 50 grand, your ace in the hole, your pocket, started switching up, are you ready to be left behind? We've heard countless stories about people who elevated their status in life. They chose to start watching different things, reading different things. They started spending their money differently. As they started moving differently, doors started opening for them that they didn't previously know were there. Their exposure to new environments, and as a direct result, their exposure to new audiences increased. And at the end of those stories, there are the homies that got left behind and feel abandoned and betrayed and feel like the one who moved forward switched up, got brand new, and every other colloquial assault that really just boils down to, you left me and I'm salty. Are you ready to get left? Why would I ask you that? If you and I start in the same place of struggle or at least similar challenges, and I find a way to change our lives for the better, I find a way for us to go forward to the next level or at least a different level, and you find all the reasons not to go with me, did I leave you behind or did you stay put while I kept moving? We're going to do the work today, Passionates, okay? Being left behind is my mother walking out the door without saying a word while I'm sitting fully dressed in the living room waiting for her. Being left behind is not my mother saying, I'm leaving at 9, be ready, and leaving without me because I didn't move when she said she would be ready to move. Many of us see the people around us making moves to do something different, and either they weren't very successful before, so we didn't believe this time would be any different, or we thought they'd go far, but never anticipated that they'd go so far in a direction where we weren't that we'd feel abandoned. Are you prepared for someone in your immediate circle to go somewhere without you? I can remember last year talking to my sis and saying to her, I'm going to the top, sis, okay? So get your shiznai together because I expect to see you there with me. And I hope she's watching this premiere so she can tell you herself. Because I told this to a few people, okay? Frankly, there are some people I don't want to leave behind. Only way I'm going to see them in my rear view is if I'm driving and they in the back seat, or if I'm driving the car directly in front of them, okay? I'm not interested in seeing a blurry outline of them as I drive off to glory and leave them waving on the corner, or vice versa. So I told them straight like that. Get it together so we can go together. So let any one of them decide they want to show up on somebody's VH1 story, telling some lies and deception about how I got brand new. You heard it here first. I want to live a life of luxury and relaxation. I'm working hard now, so I don't have to work hard too much longer. I'm not working hard to then go and support anybody who is able-bodied and lazy, or who has differently directed priorities. So right now, while we're in the same space and the same circumstances, they don't have the time to make the moves I'm making. Because people who don't have time to sit in on a 2 to 3 hour webinar have 4 hours to go out and drink and 30 minutes to commute either way and an hour to get ready before heading out. Okay? People who don't have 2 hours a week to take a course of any kind: credit repair, investing, trading, epigenetics, holistic health, apartment farming, real estate. People who don't have 2 hours a week to invest in any of the above find time to complain about the friends who also didn't have 2 weekly hours to spare, but somehow made a way, invented another 2 hours in their already full 24, and now they're living a lot easier and ain't helping them. They find time to cry about who ain't doing what now, but conveniently forget the schism didn't happen when friend started doing better. The schism actually happened when friend decided to do better. Which friend are you? What decisions are you making? And if you're not making the kinds of decisions to propel you forward, are you ready to get left behind? And to be clear, ready to be left behind is not saying, they doing that, go for them, whatever. They don't want to be my friend, I don't care. If a little money could change them, they weren't my true friend to begin with. I'm talking about my partners are ready to move on a business endeavor, and I have too many things outstanding and incomplete. So if they have to move without me, I'm okay with that. And if they move without me and they come up crazy, I'm not projecting my disappointment with my unpreparedness on them. I'm celebrating them and taking notes on how to better position myself so I can either be ready in the next round or accept that I missed this wave altogether. I'm talking about my friends planning last minute multiple $1,000 trips and me genuinely saying, OMG, Nis, that's so dope. Video call me, send me your whole photo album. I want to see it all. As opposed to me trying to convince them that I hold sincere joy and well wishes for them because my tone sounds dry and ashy, okay? I know somebody right now who is A-okay with not coming on the trip and listening to the play-by-play while flipping through pictures. They're not coming with me. So if the remainder of my life includes travel, as it stands today, they're getting left behind, and it is well. The conversation is, she wants to travel. I'm not in the right place to fly because I have some things to work on, and I've never been too pressed to go anywhere. I'm cool with seeing it on my TV. I know somebody else who doesn't even consider my travel schedule because it's not in their budget. So the assumption is that I'm looking to spend my free time locally because that's their access ceiling. So when more and more things don't include them, the problem is you changed. And did. And conversely, you didn't. You stayed the same, so you had to stay behind. I ask these questions because somebody has to start the hard conversations, and who better than me? I never liked being left behind because it put a spotlight on loneliness. So while I may not do the same things you do to get your bread, I'm for damn sure gonna do something to ensure that me not being in attendance is a choice or a schedule conflict and not a self-imposed limitation because I didn't act when I could have. If you are not ready to be left behind, you had better get ready to make changes. The time to act is now. The time to do something different is now. Don't wait until you get blocked or you get we're sorry, the number you are trying to reach has been disconnected. No further information is available. Because while you feel like that's just them being brand new and or too big for their britches, if you ain't talking about what I'm talking about, then what we talking about, friend? You talking problems, I'm talking solutions. We ain't speaking the same language. When I was in network marketing, I can remember them telling us, people will try to convince you it's a scheme and that it doesn't work, even after you reach the SVP level, even after you get the BMW. You talking about what's unattainable while I'm living it? And you think we can keep talking? You talking about staying home because of the possibility of rain, and I'm talking about packing an umbrella and poncho and heading out whether it rains or not. We are not having the same conversation. My perspective changed, so my purview changed. The problem isn't that I changed. The problem is that you didn't. And until you do, we won't be comfortable in the same spaces anymore. I might come visit for a few hours at best. And after that, I gotta go. You living somewhere between a Raid commercial and Willard, and my goals or my current status is somewhere between Benson and Mr. Belvedere, baby, we are not having the same conversation. And if you're not okay with my transition from 106th and Park to 96th and Park, if you're not okay with my transition from Polo Grounds to Strava's Row, namely because you don't like the fact that I went without you, beloved, I suggest you develop a stronger plan of action than talking bad about me or thinking I'm finna pay for every group function where you plan to show up and eat like a newly released POW. Find the course that interests you. Find the business that interests you. Find the strategy you're willing to put some energy into and get to getting before you get left in the dust. This is not 6- and 7-figure earning passion talking to you. This is the little girl who was heartbroken when her best friend moved to Massachusetts. This is the little cousin who was crushed when her favorite big cousin vanished from her life for 20 years. This is the friend who looks at all the pictures she's not in and knows that most of those events she missed because of her schedule, but several of those events she missed because she couldn't afford the ticket. It wasn't for everyone else to not attend because she couldn't go. And it wasn't for her to try to convince them to do something free because that's what she could manage. This is the friend who didn't get invited on the trip because it was going to cost a couple $1,000 and she couldn't afford a couple $100. I'm telling you from lived experience, there's someone that didn't want to leave you behind, but they had to because being tethered to you was enough to slow them down or hold them back. And there's someone in your life right now, or they're right around the corner, and they don't want to go without you. They want you to be right there like EJ, with them getting accolades. They want you to be right there with them getting accolades and on colorful carpets and at 5-star resorts on private islands where butlers and concierge service and yes, miss, and right away, miss, are the standard. That's the low end of service. They want more than anything for that to happen because they can't imagine doing life without you being part of theirs. And they won't imagine it, friend. They're going to live it. And while you're embittered because they couldn't or wouldn't wait for you, they will grieve and lament the same way, wondering why you couldn't or wouldn't see what they saw, why you couldn't or wouldn't make the effort they made, why you couldn't or wouldn't step out on faith like they did, why you couldn't or wouldn't be honest about the fact that they never left you. You chose to stay behind. They kept moving when you came to a standstill. They said this can work if X, Y, and Z. And you said this can work if X, Y, and Z. And they realized that y'all weren't having the same conversation and you still think that you were. Passionates, I know last week I left y'all feeling good and warm and fuzzy inside. Y'all felt gratitude and appreciation for the person who shared the episode to you. And some of y'all feel bamboozled this week because this is not the feel-good show you thought this was. Clarity feels good to me. Accountability feels good to me. And if I expect you to be accountable, then someone is going to expect me to be accountable same way. And that's what I need. I got to be accountable to myself. I have to hold my own feet to the flames when I'm falling short and be real that some of the folks that are doing better than me, and when I say better, I don't necessarily mean making more money or living flashier. Sometimes I'm talking about living the life they want to live, doing what they love, having the freedom of mobility and being comfortable knowing that they stepped out on their faith, whether a soft step or a hard fall was what was to come. They're doing better than me because they took action while I took precaution. They took a chance while I took the safe route. They humbled themselves when I was being prideful. And now I'm watching saying, me next, knowing full well right now, today, it already could have been me too. Everybody isn't supposed to be in your life forever. Some will only be in your life for a season. But some of y'all seasons are getting cut short and you're the one manipulating the weather. Y'all don't hear me. I said what I said and I said what I had to say, okay? If I had to give you 5 passion points, they would be, number 1, get going or get left. Number 2, you can't make your good enough someone else's good enough, especially after they've had a taste of so much better. Number 3, there's a difference between getting left and staying behind. Number 4, moving forward does not mean you've forgotten where you came from. It means you did that, and now you want to do something different. Government cheese may have tasted amazing when it was all you had access to. But when you got a little more change in your pocket, y'all skipped right over the store brand, right over the boarding singles, and went straight to craft. It's the same difference on a larger scale. Number 5, the same way some of you are learning the value of life insurance and the difference between wills and trusts, and you're learning how to properly structure life for your loved ones after you're gone. Cold truth. That's the same way some of y'all need to start preparing for the departure of some people from your life while you're still living. And if you're not willing to prepare for their absence, you better do what's necessary to stay in proximity. Go get you some business to mind and mind it. Either go start your own something so y'all can have some common ground, or ask friend for a position on their team so you then become even more of an asset to friend, so they'd be remiss if they did leave you behind. Okay? I'm going, y'all. Go forth. Be great. Be filled with bliss. Be armed and empowered with knowledge. Send a listener letter to my brilliant friend passion@gmail.com. Leave some feedback in the comments. Drop a megaphone if you got some value from this episode. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Find 5 people to share this to and tell each of them to share it to 5 people so you can help me help others help themselves. Leave something in the offering plate. Donations can be made via Linktree, Podbean, Zelle, or PayPal. 1 penny, $1, $1 million, it all counts. But I can't buy equipment with 1 penny. Amen, saints. I'm just saying. Y'all know I'm playing, but for real though. Either way, every penny counts. It all goes back into the pod. Your Get You Right Guru is signing off. In all things, be passionate. See you later.